Hello, and welcome to Rampant Pyanodon, episode 16. Okay, so before we go any further, I want to go ahead and just check off a bunch of the stuff on this list. There we go, and now that we have the initial Vrocks out of the way, we're going to work on making normal Vrocks. Or, I guess, the Vrocks for our production, the ones that we're going to butcher. But anyways, I went and explored the two recipes. As it turns out, we need both of them. Because the first one takes Vrock cocoons as an input, and it outputs Vrocks, right? This is done in a Vrock paddock. So we raise the Vrocks from their cocoons all the way into the Vrocks that they become as adults. And then the other recipe, it is a reproductive complex. So basically we get two Vrocks in there, they have some fun, we give them some food, and then they make a bunch of cocoons and they get the Vrocks back. So we'll just kind of loop those. But anyways, I finished the Vrock paddock part. It's over here. As you can see, the Vrock paddocks are kind of big. And I'm actually super, first of all, they take 10 Vrocks, but they're kind of big, but I'm very excited to see how they look once they're in there. There's just one small problem, though, and it's that I think this needs to be just a tiny bit bigger. Double it and pass it on. Maybe just a little bit more. And yeah, that looks about right. Yeah, so my target was to get 1 pi science per second, right? And as it turns out, the Vrocks I would need from this are about half, or half a Vrock every second. In order to achieve that, we need 80 Vrock paddocks, which is absolute insanity. And I'm like, should I even do this? But I decided, yes, I am going to do this. So it's going to take, I mean, it doesn't even fit on my screen, and my screen's massive. So this is going to be super funny to find a place to fit in the world. But I'll just get to decorating this. And then we will design the other half, which is the reproductive complex part. Hopefully the reproductive complexes are a little bit smaller and more reasonable, so we can kind of just fit it in near this. Okay, quick update. Pi has destroyed all my hopes and dreams because, yes, they are even bigger. But we don't need quite 80 of them. We only need 16. So let's whip that up together real quick. Oh my goodness. No build montage this time, but this is officially the biggest build I have ever made. And I'll construct it right in front of our eyes. So right at the bottom here are the Vrock paddocks. Just several rows of them, 80 rows of them, right? And again, it's all nice and decorated out. It's finished. Here are the 80 rows of Vrock paddocks, and it's actually lagging my game a little bit. And up here is the rest of the build. And what does this include? Well, first of all, the 16 reproductive complexes I was talking about. Wonderful. And then also the sap that goes with them, and the moss, and then also the carbon dioxide and the muddy sludge makers, and then also all the wiring that makes it go, that fits it all together. And then lastly, to the left over here is we have the cager, how we cage the Vrocks. And this is the entirety of the build. It is so massive. It is by far, as you can see from all the other builds in my test world, the biggest, the absolute biggest thing I have ever made by far. I'm pretty sure, no, but I was going to say the rest of my base could fit inside here, but like half my base could fit inside this thing, and all it does is produce half a caged Vrock per second, or I guess one caged Vrock every other second. Holy goodness. But I mean, it looks fantastic. Let's go ahead and spend 10 years building it. Oh, I've underestimated the size of my bid. I've underestimated half. Oh my goodness. I have underestimated the size of my base because half the base definitely cannot fit in here. But nonetheless, it is still massive. So I'm gonna have some trouble fitting it. And as I say that, I think it fits perfectly right here, but let me just do my due diligence and see where else I can put it. Okay, I think right there looks good to me. And let's go over there, and I guess we can just start building it. Oh, there it is. Yep, the whole thing is here. Holy crap, this thing is huge. This is going to take a very long time to build. And before we even attempt to build it, this temporary rock setup is going to have to become semi-permanent for now, because in order to make this, I think there's a counter here which shows us how many we need. Yes, right here. We need to have 832 Vrauks in order to make this. And obviously, you know, once it gets started, it'll, oh, look at that. Mahastuzo always at work. But anyways, yeah, once we get started building this, it'll start to produce on its own, and we can kind of like, you know, feedback loop it. But in the meantime, I will be pouring the resources of my base resources into this inefficient way to at least get us started off. One of the inputs for the Vrauk reproductive facility is native flora. So I'm going to go ahead and we need to drag native flora over here. So, I mean, we can take the steel and the iron and we can combine them using Irono Stilo Combinatio. And now iron and steel are on the same line. This is temporary, just because I had to drain the system. But anyways, now we got to get native flora over here, and we can use Natiavius Floris, please come over here, yo. And there we go. Native flora has appeared. Let's go ahead and use this native flora to power Vrauk. Again, I need to power some of these, or feed some input. So let's see what I can do with that. I mean, it's here already, so let's just first put the native flora in. Okay, next up on the list is the Petri dish, which was very, very, very painful, but I grabbed it from our basic substrate. Again, this is temporary. Temporary, everyone, this is temporary because I pulled it out of another build and it looks really awful and it's really maximum spaghetti. So, temporary. Also, it seems like, I believe this also takes native flora, so we'll bring that over to the other side. And now it's at the other side. I feel like I'm committing all manner of sin right now. For the moss gene sample, we can simply just convert these into loaders so it goes much faster. Okay, everyone needs to know this because I was about to stack the flora to have room for simple circuit boards, but stacked flora looks bad. I mean, it just looks very sad compared to our full flora, as it just, look at it travel through the bus. I mean, it just looks amazing. I think we catch up to it over here too. Look, it looks amazing. I think this is going to be like an exception to my rule. I'm not going to stack the native flora just because it looks too good. So instead, because I want to make room for simple circuit boards on the bus, I'm going to go ahead and stack lead and tin instead. Okay, lead and tin have been stacked, and now I got circuits joining the bus where the tin used to be, and lead and tin where lead used to be. Yeah, anyways, again, we're getting circuits on the bus because we need it to help automate the Vrauk codecs over here. So let's get that set up. Alright, I finished prepping the temporary Vrauk codecs. What I'm looking at here is a war crime. Oh my, even the electricity is sideways. Okay, but I think we have our tin. Yep, this is our tin now being grabbed from the line with an inserter, and it's going to the left for some reason. But this is temporary Vrauk codecs, and there we go. It is working. We are getting Vrauk codexes in here. We're making another Vrauk, but at what cost, you know? I just like to reiterate and let everyone know again. This is temporary, okay? Once we have our Vrauk reproductive complex area here done, this will all go away, okay? It'll all go away. It'll be all right. But anyways, that is everything for Vrauks. Next up, we can drag over some temporary moss for the moss gene sample. You know what? No temporary moss. I'm gonna run over and grab moss and put it in the chest, and do that for the rest of these items as well, because this is too much. I can't take it anymore. Okay, we've done a good job semi-automating this Vrauk stuff over here, but the rest of it I'm going to be handcrafting so that I don't harm my beautiful base anymore. But yeah, let's just grab a whole bunch of moss and stuff and put it in a bunch of these chests. And there we go. That's a good amount of moss. Iron chests. I'll just make a couple. There we go. Automation science pack. We have plenty of this at the base, so let me run and grab those. And that should be a good amount for now. All that's left after this is to just handcraft a bunch of biosamples. And there we go, 140 biocontainers all set to make 140 biosamples. This is pretty good for now. I think now we're going to go over to the reproductive complex and start building it. Okay, so you just finished watching me route the caged Vrauks all the way over to the, I think, rubber stoppers, and the cages back over here. But as you can see, we have finished building this place. We have so many Vrauks, and it took so many materials to build it too. I mean, if you just look at the materials here, I mean, like 8K stone brick, 7.6K coal gravel, 2.2K, you know, concrete, 2.1K floorboard, 2K like belts, 500 mechanical inserters. I'm just listing off a bunch of items, but you know, big ticket items, 80 Vrauk paddocks, 16 reproductive complexes, you know, 24 sap, I mean sap and moss. Actually, I put it in the factory planner, and I put all the pie products, you know, like the big ticket items, to see how much this actually costs. And it costs about 13K bricks, 3.3K aluminum, 3.3K glass, and then the big ticket items, 16K copper plates and 32K iron plates. 322 circuit boards isn't that much, you know, 2K steel plates, 1.6K titanium plate, that's not much, but the 32K iron plates was a lot. Also, during this whole process, we managed to kick off our entire base to the point where, or kickstart our base to the point where everything was producing ash. We were underproducing ash before. Now we're severely overproducing ash. We're severely overproducing it to the point that I think my raw coal, yeah, my my coal and coke production is stopped because the iron oxide is fully backed up because the ash line, the excess materials line is completely full. I mean, I added all these buffer chests, right? I added so many, and this is why I'm against buffer chests, by the way. Look how many I added, and it still like did not put a dent in this massive line. I mean, we're not producing trees fast enough, right? So it was a huge undertaking is all I'm trying to say. But I mean, it is finally here, and I'm so excited to turn it on. So let's go ahead and do that. We are just going to use an inserter for now, and then once this is empty, we will get rid of the chest, basically. But we can see the first Vrauk go, oh my god, there's no achievement for it. That's right. Okay, so yeah, it basically just goes right in. We get a caged Vrauk, and I think it's going to go all the way up this line, right, as we can see, and it's going to go and join us over... oh, it seems like it's not complete. Okay. Okay, caged rocks are fixed. Now we can set everything to go and finally see our rubber stopper production block in action. But here we go. We have done so much. We finished rocks, and I guess that brings us to the end of the episode. And again, there's just a weird cut here because I thought I could wrap this episode up in less than 15 minutes, but I'm already past that mark. And it doesn't make sense to relaunch Factorio because then the timeline's already convoluted. But anyways, we have these other two choices, so we'll explore those while we are making our second Vrauk. That was too much. Well, I think this is the end of the episode.
Yep, I've already run over that.
To open up
Factorio
again, not lazy.
But I also want to thank
it would mess with the timelines.
my
but
patrons. So
it's kind of convoluted.
Just go over here and hit play.
And of course, I'd love to give a special thanks to all
my
patrons.
John Boy,
Mahistuzo,
Irrespetuzo,
and Sterling.
Their fishing dock has started
Awesome.
growing trees.
I'll see you guys next episode.